All right, so today we want to build a full database schema using drawSQL, where you get to see the graphical representation of this schema and you get to see them at work live with me. So most time when you are a developer, you tend not to build your database, not to draft out your database schema before you start developing your application, which is a very bad practice. You should learn to develop your schema, draw the table, let how they relate with each other before you get into building the application, in either the backend application or the front end application. Right. So the first thing you want to do right here. So now looking at an e-commerce application, what we want to see here is, so looking at an e-commerce application now, what we want to say is I want to know what we are going to be engaging in this model itself. Then using that, we want to display some of these things to the user itself. So what we are going to do right here now is that, okay, so what we are going to do right here is that we want to know what we are going to be using in this user. So we want to know that, okay, now for an e-commerce application now, so just go ahead here and say e-commerce application. So for an e-commerce application, now what am I going to have here? So I want to have rows. Like that's for my user. My user should have a rows. So that it's a vendor or this is a customer, right? I want to have that. We're going to have categories. So I'm just going to be listing out a few of them here. Then we're going to be building them. Then we want to have a table called user rows. Then we want to keep track of the session that the user logged in itself. So I'm going to also have user sessions itself. Then we're going to have products. So we're going to have products. We want to keep track of products, which is very much expected. And now vendor, or we call them warehouses, or where we are tracking these things from. So if we are doing it like this way, we want to have access also to cart. Want to have access to cart. Then we want to have wish list. So we want to have wish list too. And okay, so we're going to be having, like, yes, we have wish list, we have shipping methods, and just so many other things right there. So I'm just going to, so I won't bore you with this. I'm going to start doing something right away. So I'm going to start drawing the schema for this application right away. So what am I going to do right here? So I'm just going to come here now. To do this now, I'm going to come here and just say, so I'm going to start with the rows now. So for the rows, I'm going to have an ID. But for our ID, for an e-commerce application, we don't want to use just anyhow thing. So most likely for my ID for this application, I'll be using UUID for everything. For my ID, I'll be using UUID. Then I want to add a column right here. I want to call this name. So that's the other name itself. And this is going to be just a text for us, a text data. And okay, so this is all right. This is the text, and this is going to be voucher. So let's leave it like that. Then I want to have description. So description right here now. Yes, I can also leave this as text. Then what I want to do here is make sure that this is viewable. That means, like, there's an option for this to be empty, right? So that's what I'm going to do right here. Then I want to have this created at, then I want to also, this should be a timestamp. So I want to use timestamp TZ, which is also representing the time zone. So I'm not just giving it a timestamp, but I also want to represent the time zone in the timestamp. Then I want to use updated at. I want to use updated at also. So I'm going to come here now and say updated at. Then I'm using timestamp TZ. All right, so this is my row table, and this is everything I need for my row table. Right, so I can now move to the next table that I want now. So for me, I would like to use right here. Let's see the user rows. So what do we have in the user rows? We have an ID, and of course, I would like to use user ID. Then we have the user ID right here. Then we have the yes, big int. Okay, no, we're using the UUID from here for the user ID. And you will see how we are going to connect these two row now. Then we have the row ID itself. Then we are going to have granted hat. So when was this row granted to the user? When was this row granted to the user? I want to take note of that also. I'm just going to come here and say, so I'm going to use a timestamp now. And also I'm including the time zone for the timestamp I'm using. Okay, then I want to have granted by. So who granted this user the permission for this row? So I want to take note of that. And here too, I'll be using a UUID, which is going to be a key coming to this. And here now we can see a key right here. This is representing the primary key, right? It's representing the primary key that we're using for this data. So here now we have a row ID. I want to connect this ID here to this row ID right there. And this is going to be like, so it's going to be like this. So I'm going to leave it this way. So this is like, want to have it that way. So, and we can also now want to have another table right here, which is going to be the user table. And I will just like to have that here. And I'm going to call this users. And of course, we're going to have an ID for the user, a UUID over here. Then we have the UUID. We have the ID over there. And I'm going to have the email of this user. And for this email, I like to use Vaka and Pacha. That's all right. And I want to use phone right here. For phone also, I like to use Vacha. So you see here now, you can put in more option, but I won't go too deep into all this in this live session today. They want to have password hash here also. So I'm just going to come here and say password hash. Then just add a few more columns for first name, second name. Okay. I think we prefer this to be last name and not second name. So we have last name. And also we want to have something like want to have the gender, want to keep the gender of this user. So I'm just going to put it like this. I want to have the gender of this user. I also want to have the date of birth. The date of birth of this user. Then after the date of birth of this user, I want to have the avatar URL. I'm having the avatar URL also right here. Then I want to have like something like status. What is state? So this user is user suspended. Is user account pending verification. Then I want to have email verification. This is most likely going to be a checkbox. Yes, this is going to be a Boolean field. So email verified. Also, I want to have if I want to know if the phone number is verified too, just for an e-commerce application. So phone verified also. Then I want to have so many other things. I want to have last login. Uh, just to keep track of the last time this user logged in. And I want to have created hat. And here I want to have updated hat. Then if I come down here, I'm going to have deleted hat. So now I can come back here now to the password hatch, and here I want it to be virtual right there. Then this name too. And when it comes to the gender, what I want is okay, I cannot have a type gender here. So I'm just going to pick a text right here. Let's see the options I have here. So I'll just go with the text. So what you might want this to be is to have multiple choices. It could be a drop down for your front end, and it's going to have like choices. It's going to be a choice field. It's going to have like choices. You can pick male or female, or I prefer not to say. So date of birth now. What we want to have for date of birth is just simply date, right? Then the avatar URL virtual also we do for this one. Then we have the status. We just want to have like user status in that sense. So let's just leave this as text also. This also will be a drop down just like the gender itself. Then okay, let's go to email verification. This is going to be a Boolean field. Is it okay? This also is going to be a Boolean field. They want to have the last logged in at now. This is going to be a time zone, a timestamp, including the time zone. They want to have the created at also here. This is going to be a timestamp here. They want to have the updated at also here. Then this is also going to be a timestamp. Then deleted at also will be a timestamp here. Okay. So here now we have the user table also sorted out. So what we can just do here is right here now we have this okay, and this is looking good, right? So we can connect this user ID to this user ID right here on this table. And what I just want to do is leave it as this. It's not one to one, it's one to many, just like that. So here now we have the user table right here, and we can see how it is. You can see how the user is right here. So after this user now, let's just say, okay, it's an e-commerce application. So it's right for us to just have our product next, right? So I'm just going to come here and I'm going to have a product. So I'll just move this down a bit. So if I have product here, so let's come here and name this table product. All right, before that, let me create my category table. So if I come here now and I'm creating my categories table here, so I just call these categories. And for these categories now, what I want to do now is okay. Now I'm having an ID. Let's make my ID UUID. I prefer it that way. Then I want to have like parent ID. So I want to have like a category system whereby there can be children category, parent category, and they can just keep on going like that. We can just keep on going like that. We can keep on going like that. We can keep on going like that, and just making sure that this work well. I want to have the parent ID. I want to have the name. I want to have the name of the category. I want to have the name of the category. And also, okay, I'll come back to all this later. So after the name of the category, we want to have a slug, right? For an e-commerce application, we want to make sure we are having a slug for this. Want to make sure we're having a slug for this. And okay, then after a slug here, we want to have the description of this category. So let's say this is from menswear. So this category is for menswear. They want to have the URL. We want to have the image URL. We want to have the sort order. So after the sort order here, we want to have is active. So we want to know if this is active, if this category is active. So we want to be able to put some category, we want to make some category inactive, and just by default, maybe we disable, we will not display any of the products in that category. So we want to have created art always and also updated art. So we can just keep track, and also all these things will be displayed in the log in the application. So for parent ID now, I want to make this also UUID, and this is just like it linking to another category itself. All right. Then yeah, I'll just have it as virtual. Then also here to virtual is okay for this. Then for the description is better. I'll just leave it as text. So we'll leave this description as text right here. Then for the image URL, so we can also make use of virtual. Then for the sort order, want to make use of an integer. So I think integer is all right for us. So just to know that, okay, how are we sorting this order? Then for is active boolean, created out as usual, timestamp with the time zone. All right. So we have this way now, timestamp with the time zone. So we have the category. So let's just move to the product next. So when we have the product right here, what we want to add next right here is the name. Then also we go from name, then we go to slug. Then from slug, also what do? We go to short description. And from short description, what do we want to do? We want to see description. And I think you must know the meaning between like the difference between the short description and description. Let's say the front end or the mobile application, the mobile developer wants to display just a short description somewhere without expanding the full description. We are going to show the short description instead in that place. They want to have the base price. So I love this part actually. They want to have the base price, want to have the compare price. So this is going to help in terms of, let's say maybe like variant of this product. They want to have the cost price. They want to have the SKU prefix. So you know that depending on the e-commerce application you are building and the specific of this application, some of these fields are going to be different. But this should serve as a standard. Then you can always modify this thing to suit your taste based on how you want it. They want to know the brand of this product. So is this an Apple product? Is this an Oraimo product? All right. Then want to have the weight. Want to have the weight grams. They want to have the status right here. So after the status here, what's the next thing we want to do? So the next thing we want to make sure we are doing here. Okay. We stop status right here. So let's say yes, want to have is digital. Want to know then is this product also taxable? So depending on the country you are writing this from, some country you have to like make sure that this product is taxable. Then this user is also charged on the tax. So that's like the consumer is also charged on the tax for buying the product. They want to have the meta description. So after the meta description, we want to have created art right here. So I'm just going to come here and say something like created art. Then right here now, I want to have something like updated art also. Then I want to have deleted art. So as usual, this is going to be timestamp. Then I also want this to be timestamp. All right, so this meta description now is just going to be virtual. I'm going to leave it as virtual. Then meta title, so I'm going to leave it as virtual. Then the stack table, I'm going to leave it as boolean. Then okay, this is virtual also. I'm going to leave this as virtual. The stack table, I'm going to leave it as boolean right here. And the digital boolean also. So the digital is boolean here. They want to have status here. So I'm just going to have this to be text. This is also going to be like a choice field. Then we want to have the weight here now in grams. So this is going to be an integer. They want to have the brand also. So the brand now is going to be virtual here. So why are you writing this? I don't know why I can't add it in this place. We want to have limitation, like want to have limit to the character we can put here. So for something like this now, I might as well put 150. So anyway, you see virtual, we are going to add like a character limit to that particular virtual itself. So okay. For cost price, of course, this can be decimal, right? For compare price, this can be decimal. Also, trust me, for this price, you don't want to put float, you want to put decimal. I think that's better. Then for description, you want to have text. For short description, you want to use virtual. And now this should now have a limit of 500 characters. Then for short description, okay. For description, we want to use text instead here. Then for short, okay, let's make sure this is text. For short description, we want to use virtual. Then for slug, as usual, we're also using virtual. And this one limit can be like 300 character. Then for name, also we're using virtual. Then I think 255 virtual is enough for this. And for UUID, as always, for ID as always, we're using the UUID. So now that we have the product and we have the category, so we can just decide to go ahead and connect this to how they should be. Right. So I'm just going to go right now. Let's see. All right. So what are we doing with this product right here? Okay, I think as we'll come back to this soon. So for this parent ID here, then we can do something like this. Okay, I think this is all right this way. Okay, let's just make it one to many. So we want to make this like this for this category itself. And also what we want to do right here when it comes to, okay, we want to have another table here. So we want to have another table right here. And for this table, what we want to do here is, okay, we want to have like user session and also want to have a table like, okay, want to have a table also. Yes, user session. I think we have the category now. It's checked. So what else do we have here? So let me just like zoom out of this. Okay. So let's have user session right there. So if you want to have a user session table, what we are going to do here is something like this. So user session now, I want to have something like user sessions. Yeah, we want to start adding things right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, for now, we have something like user ID. Right. So I have user ID here. We now want to have a token hash. So this can be the GWT token that is in the hash format itself. So just to keep track of the user session, they want to have the IP address of this user. So we can keep track of the location. So if there's anything we want to make particular to the location that it is using, we want to make it in that way. So I want to have the like, okay, IP address right here. I want to have the user agent itself. So I want to have the user agent also right here. So when it comes to the user agent, what we want to do, okay, we have this right. Then we also want to have the expires out. So here now we have expires out also. And here we have revoked. So we have revoked at. Then we have created at here. So we have all this sorted out here. So here we can now just go on and just fixing the rights. So here user ID as always. Then here also is user ID for the user session. For the user ID, then for this hash token, I'm just going to enter virtual also here. And for this IP address, then we can also go with virtual. But here now we now have a limit of like 45, right? Then for user agents, we can leave it as text. Then for expire art, I think, okay, what can we do with this? For expire art, we can have a time zone right here. Then for revoked at, so if this user session was revoked, you also want to keep track of the time the user session was revoked. So what then once I've created that here too, then this will be a timestamp with time zone. Okay, so we have a user session now. So now, the next thing we now want to do right here now is that, okay, now we have a good user session now. So we want to look now, which table do we want to connect this user session to? So, well, the first thing we look at here now is, okay, so I'm just going to bring this down here. Then I like to bring this user session here and just make sure that this is well arranged. So I want to assign my ID here to the user ID here. Okay, this is not what I want to do. I just want to carry this to user ID here. And yes, okay. I'm satisfied this way. And for this user session, okay, this is all right. Then so we can just proceed to the next table we want to have. So we're also going to have something like carts, right? So we're going to have carts, we're going to have warehouses. So I'm just going to go ahead now, create carts. So right here we have cart, right? And here I just want to add like few columns right here. And user ID as always. So user ID, okay, user ID, they want to have the session ID. Okay, then after the session ID, I want to have the expires at. Okay, let me make sure this is well spelled. Then I want to have also created at right here. Created at. Then after created at, I want to have deleted at. I want to have deleted at also. So this is a timestamp here. Then also I'm having this created at here. This is also going to be a timestamp here. Then I'm having this expired at. Okay, this is also going to be a timestamp. Don't forget, this timestamp is different from normal timestamp because we're including the time zone. That's why it's timestamp TZ, right? That is written right there. Then for the session ID, I'm just going to use a virtual here, right? For the session ID, I'm going to use a virtual here. And for this ID, UUID as always. And for the ID also, I want to use UUID as always, right? So I'm going to leave it this way. UUID, then so I want to leave it like that and just like let it work in that format and in that way. Okay, so the next thing I want to do now, okay, now I have my cart ready. So I want to just go for the warehouse itself. So if I want to have like my warehouse right here, so I'm just going to say, okay, warehouses. I'm having my table for warehouses here. And what I want to, okay, I want to just go ahead and add some field. So I'm having the name, I'm having the code. So I want to attach a code to every warehouse. I'm having the address. So after the address here, I want to have the city for this warehouse. After the city now, I want to have the country for the warehouse also. Then after this country, I want to have is active. So is this warehouse active? Are they currently functioning? Are they available to deliver products or to ship products? So I want to know that. I want to keep track of that. So if anywhere else is not active, I can easily make sure they are not. I can easily like deactivate them and make sure that yes, this warehouse is not available at the moment. So we have time zone right here. Then as usual, time zone. Then as you know, you should know this now. Just what do you think this should be? This should be boolean, right? So this should be boolean. Yeah, we want to have the country. I want to talk about the country. You can just leave this as a character, right? I leave this as a character. Want to have the country. Want to have the country right here. And the next thing we want to make sure we are doing right here now. So once we have a country here, want to have city, right? Then the virtual, I want to use virtual here instead. Then the address itself, what do I want this to be? I would just like this to remain as text, right? That's the address of the warehouse itself. Then for this code, I'll use virtual 2. Then for the name also, I want to use virtual. Then ID as always. sure this is UUID. UUID as always. So we have these right here. We have this here too. So now I can connect my cat and user now. So as usual, the user ID, you just want to connect it here to cat. Okay, so just bring the ID from the user ID here. And we want to connect this user ID to cat right there. So now we are connecting this user ID to cat. Okay, that's good. So that's good and that's doing well. And for this, okay, we have this warehouse too also. Right, all right. So we have the cart now. We have the cart. All right. So now we want to have wish list and we also want to have like shipping method. We want to have wish list. We want to have addresses. Also, I know that we listed some things here, right? We've done cards, we've done products, we've done user sessions. We want to have shipping method, and after we want to have like something like addresses, right? Here, that's like the user addresses, and also we want to be able to keep track of something like coupons, right? So we want to have coupons, then also we want to have things like, okay, is this discount? We want to have a table to manage our discount, to keep track of our discount in the first place. Then after that, we want to have product category. So okay, so we want to have product categories. So I'm not creating these things in any particular order. I'm just creating them to how I remember them and how they are written down for the sake of this video. So I want to have product categories itself. Okay, then I want to have product variants. So when we say product variants here also, so what product variants here, I want to have product variants. And here I want to have orders. Right, which is always very common to e-commerce application. We want to have orders too. So I'm just going to go back now and continue with. So after cart, I want to continue with my wish list and also shipping method. So I'm just going to like come here now and I'm going to say for here now I want to have something like wish list, right? So I'm having wish list here. That's good. And for this wish list, I'm having ID, I'm having big serial. So I'm having user ID here. That's all what I want my user ID to always be. Then I want to have the user ID for the user ID that owns this wish list. Then after this user ID, I want to have the name. And after this name, I want to have something like is public. So is this wish list public? Is the user making this wish list public? Let's say you want to make a wish list public for friends or for anyone who would like to like see your wish list. Just based on the feature you like your e-commerce to have, then I want to have updated hat. So now when we say updated hat, okay, we are ending there. We won't need it. So here now it can be like, okay, I think I'm deleting this now. Delete column. So here now, type zone as usual. Then here also, all right, we have timestamp then. We want to have it's public, right? So it's public here, I want to have boolean, right? So I want to have boolean there. Then after now, after this, what do I want to do next? So after this, what I want to do next now is, okay, yes, name. I want to have voucher here. I think voucher will do for this one. Then for user ID, user ID as always. And also before I connect this, I'll just go ahead and create my chipping method right by the side of this. So I'm just going to go ahead and name this chipping methods. All right. So we have this going well. So I want to come here, say name. Then after name, I want to say carrier. Then I want to say estimated days. Then I want to put, okay, mean here, this is the minimum estimated days. And I want to also have estimated days. And days, I want it to be the max, right? I want it to be the maximum estimated days I'm going to have. So after that, now I want to move to the next field I want to have here. So after that, now I want to say, okay, I want to have something like a base cost. I want to have a base cost right here. I want to have is active. I want to have created at. Then I want to have updated at. Mhm. I want to have updated at also. So I'm just going to come here now and say this is timestamp using the time zone. Also, this is timestamp using the time zone. Then I want to come here now and say that okay, now it's active. So how do I say this is active? I want to say this is boolean. Then for the base cost, I want to use decimal. Estimated days right here, I want to use an integer. So I want the estimated days to be in integer format, like 40 days, 30 days, and the like. Then want to have the carrier here. And we'll just use varchar here. Then the name also want to use varchar. And this, okay, and as usual, want to use UUID for this one. So UUID for this now. So I want to connect shipping method right here to user height. Okay. So here now we see user ID here for which list, right? So we need to connect this back to the user ID we have up there. So I should just like zoom out of this a bit. So where the user table is here. So I want to, okay, let me bring this arrange this better this way. So I want to connect these dots. Okay, this is not what I wanted. I think I want to zoom in a bit. So I want to connect these dots, this tiny dot. To bring it down here, connect it to user ID, and just like that, we have that connected, right? So that's good, and that is doing quite all right. Okay, so come back here. Let's zoom in a bit. All right, so let's have the address table now. So if we want to have our address table, let's do it somewhere like here, and we just call it addresses. And this is going to, okay, this should have quite a whole lot of fields. So now addresses, now I want to have the user ID. You can see that almost every table we are dealing with is having the user ID. So it's something that you should note now when it comes to an e-commerce application, because you are keeping track that, okay, this, most of the table is having a relationship with the user ID, if not all, most of the table. So we want to have like full name, they want to have phone number, they want to have address line one. Sure, if you are someone that do online where online, which I think everybody nowadays do that, or we have address line two. And you know that for some e-commerce too, you want to have something like pickup station, right? Well, yeah, I'm just going to say address line one, address line two, then also want to say city. Then after the city, we want to say state. Then after state, we want to have like something like postal code. So I'm just going to come here and say postal code. Then I want to have the country. Then after this country, I want to have is default. Then after this is default, I want to have created that. So then I want to have updated that also. So these are the fields I want to have for this now. So we're just going to put in the right data type for these fields. So timestamp right here. Then is default is going to be boolean as always. Then country, we can just use character right here. So once you the character code now, so we can just use character, make sure that it's just like 2 character for somewhere like US, UK, something like that. Then we want to have like varchar right here. So when we have varchar here, then for the state itself, we want to have varchar also. And for the city, what we want to do is we want to have varchar also for the city. Then for address line, I think yes, we can also do it varchar. We can make sure that this is knowable. So once you have address line one, address line two is like knowable. And okay. All right. So we want to have like after this now. Okay, for phone number, what we want to do is have varchar also. Then for full name, varchar of a limit of 200 character should do. Then we want to have the type here now. And for type, I will just say this is an address type, right? So I just have like text now. This will most likely be a drop down or be a choice field where you can work with it. And for the user ID itself, as always, my favorite UUID. So we have a UUID right here. right? Then for the user ID, what are we doing? Oh, sorry. This is what is user ID. Then for the type here, we also having text because we want it to be something that is selectable. And for the ID itself here, we are also having UUID. And you know that even using this UUID, you can in a way make sure that this UUID is like custom, whereby if it is a product, it's starting with something like PROs, yes, PRO to signify it is product. If it's a category starting with CAT, it is a category. So you can modify your ID to make sure that okay, now the first predicate now signify what this ID belongs to. So I just want to put that out there so you just know that. Okay, so as usual, as always, we want to connect this, want to connect our user to the address. So okay, we're going to select this again and try to pick the small dots. Okay, we are bringing it to the user ID. And good. So let's see now. We have something beautiful going on here. So we can see our table and we can see how they are relating with each other. You can see that this is quite beautiful, right? So the next table we want to have here now is the coupons, right? So I'm just going to come down here, way down here, and going to create another table under the addresses table. Then I'm going to call these coupons. So we're just going to have it like coupons right here. Then we want to have something like, okay, we want to have code, we want to have description, they want to have discount type. Then after the discount type, now what do I want to do? I want to have discount value. So after discount value, now I want to have mean order value. Then after this mean order value, I want to have the max, the discount cap itself. Then I want to have the max uses. Then max. So these are terms that we use in terms of coupon. So if you don't really understand them well, that's quite all right. So it's majorly like for e-commerce application, because that's what we are doing, right? So current uses, sorry, yes, current uses now. They want to have status. They want to have start act. So when is the coupon starting? They want to have the expires date. Expires out. So this coupon is expiring at a particular date, right? We want to have the created at. Then after this created at, one next table we want to have is expires at, right? Then I want to go on to say I want to have created by. So who created this coupon? Which vendor, which store created this coupon? Then created out. Okay, I have created out and okay, updated out. I have created out right here. Okay, I think that's good. That's all right. That's all right. So I'm just going to go ahead now. So created by is going to be connected to a user. So I'm just going to do one thing here now. Let's see if I can bring a user without seeing both of them. So created by, that's good. Okay, so that's all right. So once I have the discount table real quick. So if I should just come here and say the discount table right here. Okay. So I'm just going to say discounts. So after this discount here, the next thing I want to do here is have name. Then I want to have the description. Then after description, I want to have the discount type. Then after the discount type, I want to have the discount value. Then after discount value, I want to have the scope. I want to have the scope ID. And from scope ID, I want to have the mean quality, the minimum quality itself. I want to have the priority. Have the priority for this. I want to have is exclusive. Yeah, I want to have something like, okay, this is exclusive. Is this active? And after is this active now, what's the next thing I want to have? So I want to know something like start at, expires at, created by. So if I should have created by right here, I want to have created at, I want to have updated at, right? So yes, I have this now, and this is quite good and doing well. So okay, so this is for the discount now, and also I want to connect this created by to a user. So I'm just going to like take it back home right there. So I'm going to bring this down, way down, way down, way down, way down, way down. Okay, okay, discount. So I'm having created by right here. So yes, created by. So the next thing, okay. So we have that all right now, and they are doing quite all right. So we want to go up here, right here. So I'll just have this data range. Now I want to have the product category, the product variant, and the order. Then we might stop there for today and just continue from there later on. So I'm just going to come here now and say, what am I going to have here? I want to have the product categories. I want to have the product ID. So now we'll be seeing how this connects now. I want to have the category ID. And I want to have is primary. Is this is primary category? So that's all for this product category. So before I conclude this, I'll just go ahead and create product variant table too. So product variant table right here. So you can just see now, you can see most of these things are things that you can relate with your e-commerce application. So I'm really showing you how this thing is created and engineered from the developers now. So that's like the engineer, the software engineer that built this. So product, okay, that's not product, it's meant to be product ID. And just I'll come back there. Then variant label. So then I want to have variant label, something like extra large, small. You want to have the price override. So you know that some particular cloth now, extra large might be a different price from a medium clothes, right? So this is why we're having this price override. Then we want to have the weight of these things in grams. So if it's a product that has to do with weight, this is actually going to tell the difference. So we want to have barcode if we're going to use that. We want to know if this variant is active. So is this variant available itself? We want to have something like created art. They want to have updated art itself. So we are going to be having this now, and this is going to be timestamp. And don't forget our timestamp always including a time zone. Also timestamp here including the time zone itself. They want to have is active. So when we say is active, this is going to be boolean. They want to have the barcode, and this barcode can just leave it something like varchar, right? That will work quite all right. They want to have the integer here, not big int, just int. All right. Then for price override, we can work with decimal. Then for price label, for variant label, varchar should be all right also. And for SKU, let's use varchar also. And for okay, product ID now, not product ad. Product ID, we are using UUID. Then for ID itself, we are using UUID. So I love this. And now for this category, here is primary, we're using boolean here. Then ID here, UUID as usual. Then the rest is UUID. Like this is my favorite data type here. All right. So that's nice and that's okay. So now we want to connect this product and category. So when we say categories here, what we want to do here is connect this ID here. No, 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 no. Remain there. Just this categories ID. We want to connect it to categories ID here. And yes, that is good. Right, then we want to connect this product ID also here to this product ID here. And yes, this is perfect. All right, then we want to come to the variant now. Now to the product variant. What do we want to do with the product variant? We want to say this product ID here is going to belong here. Right. And this is awesome itself. So we have it this way now. So what's the next thing we are going to do here? Okay. So we still have many other tables to create. Okay, I'm just going to go with like, okay, one more table before we end this live session for today. So I'm just going to come here now. Okay. So I guess we have to end it right here. Our table limit is reached for this free trial on drawSQL. So I'll just write other things here, other tables here. So we still have to create something like orders. We're left with orders. Then you want to create a table, something like products, images. Then you want to create a table, something like inventory. Then you want to create a product, something like variant options. Also, you want to create things like cart items, then wish list items itself. So I'm just like, so you should try doing this now since I've been okay. Since you've seen how I create these tables and everything now. So I'm going to like research more tools that I can use to create this table. I know of drawSQL, I know of dbdiagram.io, and just put them in the comment section, in the description of this video itself. So we're going to have the order items itself right here. So we have order items. And also, what do we want to do here? Okay, and okay, also we want to have inventory movement. I want to have the payment transaction. Then we want to have also want to have the product reviews. Yes, that's very, very much important. Product reviews, so you can drop a review with your stars. They want to have the shipment items. So we've been able to create all these now. So you can just go ahead and try to create these other ones now and try to see what are the fields you are going to give these. Are they going to work? So that will be all for this live video. Don't forget to like this video and let me know in the comment section or in the chat section. Let me know in the comment section. Okay, so someone here says that the phone number, how will the database track the numerical characters using varchar? So when it comes to varchar now, you are made to be able to add the limit for this particular. Okay, where do we have the phone number? I think that's under user table. Okay, now for this particular, this draw SQL now does not give us that option itself, but on a more advanced, or maybe if you upgrade, you might be able to do that. Let's see this option. Okay, maybe if you upgrade, you might be able to. do that, but you'll be able to know the limit you are putting that. Like in Python, you use something like, okay, limit is equals to 10. So you'll be able to like know that, okay, this is a max length. Yes, max length, exactly. So I want to have it, I want it to have a max length of 10 characters, 50 characters, 155 characters, or just something like that. So in the actual code, you're able to do it. And also you're meant to be able to do that too in the SQL code. Just that this particular software we are using is limited in that in that sense. So thank you very much for watching. We are going to continue this another time. Bye. See you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you again.